Everyone, I'm back with a brand new, thrilling video just for you. I hope everyone is doing fantastic and enjoying their day. The video from today is jam-packed with vital information and thrilling updates. So be sure to follow along until the very end. You won't want to miss anything. Let's go right into today's video without wasting any more time. Alright, come on, following her 6th technical. Caitlin Clark had every right to be upset about the fall and the $1,000 punishment, but instead she made a decision that left everyone shocked. On Friday night, Indianapolis seemed like a different place. It's the kind of evening when you stop talking, quit scrolling, and just watch. Caitlin Clark was doing something that very few people in basketball history had ever done on a court, and by the time the final siren sounded, everyone in the basketball community was still taking in what they had recently recorded: 45 points, 2 blocks for steals, and 10 assists. Just 4 other players in the whole professional basketball league, neither men's nor women's, had ever documented a stat line as unusual and historically absurd as this one. She finished it in less than 30 minutes, even though she was still playing under a minute constraint. She had not yet raised her own. Coaching staff, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for the content. Surprisingly, over 85% of viewers haven't signed up yet. It's quick and free. However, it is very important to us. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic. I sincerely appreciate your help. Now, returning to the video, analysts were comparing Luka Doncic to Michael Jordan. Stated, for a single evening, social media was at a loss for words to describe what had just happened. Basketball was the center of Caitlin Clark's life. Her actions on the court and their impact on the record, books, and what it revealed about the future of her profession. 90 seconds later, Saturday finally arrived. Clark ran against a hard screen set by Liberty center John Cale Jones, and the entire conversation took that long to turn around. She fell to the ground 90 seconds into Indiana's next game against the New York Liberty. She looked for the foul call, but it never appeared. She got up, spoke to the nearest referee, and was issued a technical right away. Foul before the game even started. Suddenly, she had already spent $1,000 on her 6th of the year. The athlete, who had recently joined one of the rarest teams in basketball history, was about to automatic 1-game ban following 2 technical fouls. The celebrations from the night before continued. The slow-motion highlight videos kept playing on every timeline, and before she had even calmed down, the league finds its most watched athlete going into her 2nd game of the weekend. How can a sport go from punishing the same person who accomplished history less than a day later on a Friday? That question didn't go over well. The Fever won the game, and Indiana comfortably overcame a Liberty team that had previously defeated them. It landed hard. Kelsey Mitchell scored 33 points earlier in the season for a club that had 15 wins and 10 losses and was fighting for a conference slot. It was by all accounts a strong road win with playoff implications, but it had grown more competitive every week. The triumph, however, hardly made the press. What was registered was the fine, not the technical aspect. What struck me was the math. 6 down, 2 more to go before a mandatory night off, and the reality that the previous evening, after commemorating one of the greatest individual performances in women's basketball history, the following evening, fans counted fouls like a suspension clock. This wasn't an accident that led to whiplash, wasn't an unfortunate coincidence for many who had been keeping a close eye on things throughout the season, or bad timing. It was the latest stage of something that had been evolving, one controversial whistle at a time. Many months. Since this story actually starts in June, you must return there to comprehend why Saturday looked like the latest eruption in a much longer fire. Clark committed a technical foul against the Phoenix Mercury. Referees swallow the tension in a game that many fans and experts initially judged to be borderline at best, of a physical moment, and continue without making it a moment. Most players overlook this kind of call. Music, but it did not disappear. The WNBA reviewed it and upheld it instead of rescinding it as it had done for other players earlier in the season. Not because a single technical foul is catastrophic, but rather because of what it demonstrated how, in contrast to everyone else on the floor, Clark's condition was being treated. Fans immediately took notice of that one decision, and screenshots of the decision started to appear within hours. To spread. On social media timelines, side-by-side comparisons are common. Players who act similarly or more harshly on the court. No player was subject to the same level of scrutiny or the same sanctions, even if they were just as frustrated and had said or done far more in the heat of the moment. Why does a call that is revoked for one player apply to another during the same season? Each and every subsequent technical foul. Everything seen through the lens of that persistent question. Fans weren't responding to any bad. By the time the sixth technical arrived in July, they were answering calls regarding a file they had been working on since the spring. Each contested whistle was compiled, box score by box score, screenshot by screenshot, analyzed and contrasted with a pattern that made them increasingly persuaded the league was either incapable of, to acknowledge, or was unwilling to confront. The June incident cost Clark more than just a fine. Call. A fan base that had previously been closely observing and was now doing so with a magnifying. The league lost the benefit of the doubt since no one else has been prepared to openly address. This problem makes it harder to dismiss it as internet rumors or fan displeasure. Stephanie is the head coach at Indiana. White. As a professional coach, she is not an unreliable social media pundit. She does not have a fan account. She needs to properly oversee her team and talk about officiating in a way that doesn't lead to more problems with the league office. Despite an earlier technical, she informed media that conversations regarding utilizing such fouls against her own player in a more calculated manner to address the issue. Examine it closely. A head coach stated on the record that Clark's connection to the Wnba. The organization now needs to actively control officiating rather than hope it goes away, or brush it off as an overreaction from the internet that they are deliberately preparing for. When a team's coaching staff selects what to say, you can tell how serious the issue has gotten within the organization. So cautiously when addressing a public pattern this evident. The national media has also noted, prominent sports commentators have detailed the situation around Clark's treatment. Sites that use phrases like political togo for. She was praised as the league's biggest draw one week. She was obviously more disciplined than her co-workers the next time. The league loses control of the story. When that framing moves from WNBA-specific media to broader sports discourse, the conversation takes over. The narrative had progressed to the point where casual viewers who have never used technical foul procedures, uniformity and fairness are increasingly being questioned. A fan base's strongly worded tweet is not the same as that type of pressure. The league's reputation is being shaped in real time by a conversation that it did not start and cannot ignore. Take a look at Clark's standing in the league's technical foul rankings. And it gets increasingly harder to understand the picture she currently has with Kalia Copper, for second position in the league, only surpassed by Angel Ree. The performances of these three players don't seem to be exactly the same. Copper is a ferocious two-way guard, while Ree is a powerful presence on the inside who draws aggressive play and plays with an edge, who is a perimeter playmaker with a more concentrated approach. Clark never quits chasing the hoop, on shooting, passing, and spacing rather than the kind of emotionally driven, contact-heavy play that would frequently follow in a lot of technical fouls. Why are these three players so different by the middle of the season? Within the same category of discipline, the shared number is harder to explain than it first appears. As a coincidence, it creates issues, and if those issues aren't successfully resolved, fans fill the hole by drawing their own conclusions that contradict those of the league administration. The fan base responded to such silence by creating something incredibly organized for something that had no official foundation at all. Real-time commentary and documentation are now instantly available for any technical foul to ascertain whether Clark's foul has moved her closer to the threshold. In particular, fans updated the box scores mid-aim. Screenshot threads with timestamps and video clips. Posts that contrast Clark's history of technical fouls with those of athletes whose actions is objectively equivalent or worse. This isn't just occasional venting. This fan base has effectively changed into a fact-checking division. They are persistent, well-organized, and very unwilling to allow What does it mean for a league office to have a public record of every decision it makes if a single call goes unanswered? How come so many people are watching its games? Despite the lack of an official campaign, petition, or spokesman, every time a new chapter is added, that kind of ongoing documented attention is a form of pressure in and of itself. It simply keeps going and growing. All of this has a financial component as well, which needs further investigation. More than it typically gets. The WNBA quietly restructured its outstanding system prior to the start of the season. The new system imposes a $1,000 penalty for technical fouls 4 through 7, which is a substantial increase from the $200 starting point from previous seasons. Depending on who is earning the fouls, it actually lands differently. Even if that change were implemented everywhere, the cost of irritation has been increasing. For a talent like Clark, who is approaching the threshold more quickly and harshly than almost everyone, a professional athlete may be eligible to pay $1,000 for every technical foul in the league. But the main issue isn't the amount of money. Rather, the structure reveals the league's goals. When the cost of player annoyance rises, the player bears full accountability, whereas the calls that trigger it don't change. Essentially, it asserts that increasing the expense of addressing discrepancy is the remedy for supporters who believe that the officiating problem is the underlying cause rather than the result of Clark's conduct. Observed this strategy. Clark hasn't voiced this as a personal grievance. She has been especially circumspect about that, consistently steering the conversation toward a structural argument rather than particular calls. Throughout the season, she has made numerous public requests to replace the league's current. There is a big difference between a part-time officiating setup with full-time referees. She is not asking for special treatment. Instead of asking the league to overturn any decisions that have favored her, she is making the case that better